A highly dangerous and potentially destructive storm system is on the verge of impacting the United States, unleashing significant severe weather today and tomorrow. This volatile setup carries the threat of widespread damaging winds, large hail, and even a few tornadoes. In today's forecast, we're breaking down everything you need to know about the hazardous weather expected across the nation during the next 7 days. We begin with current conditions across the country. At first glance, things may appear relatively calm, with little in the way of active severe weather this morning. However, we did see strong thunderstorms ignite overnight from Kansas into southern Wisconsin. Over the next several hours, conditions will rapidly escalate, with numerous thunderstorms expected to erupt from Texas and Oklahoma through the Mississippi River Valley. This corridor will become the primary zone for severe weather development, with storms firing as early as 10 to 11 a.m., continuing through the afternoon and evening hours. Impacts will also stretch into the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, marking the beginning of a powerful storm system that could cause major disruptions over the next 48 hours. Severe weather detailed. Breakdown, let's dive deeper into the severe weather threat over the next few days, starting with today, Saturday. The Storm Prediction Center, SPC, has issued a large slight risk zone for severe weather, covering most of the mid and lower Mississippi Valley into Texas and Oklahoma. In this region, all modes of severe weather will be possible today. A broader marginal risk extends from southern Michigan all the way to the Gulf Coast, including the Florida Panhandle. The primary concern today is damaging winds, capable of causing tree damage, power outages, and structural impacts. The SPC may upgrade parts of Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma to an enhanced risk later today, driven mainly by the wind threat, though isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out. Large hail is also a concern, especially late this morning and into early afternoon with the initial discrete storms that form ahead of the main squall line. If any pre-frontal supercells develop, we could see hail up to golf ball size, around 2 inches in diameter. However, most hail-producing storms should remain closer to quarter size. Tornado threat. The tornado risk today is widespread, covering one of the largest geographic areas we've seen in quite some time. Though this is not a high-end tornado outbreak setup. Still, a few tornadoes are expected, and some could be strong if storms can remain isolated long enough before merging into a line. A 5% tornado risk includes much of the mid-Mississippi Valley, the Ozarks, most of Arkansas, northern Louisiana, and central Mississippi. A broader 2% tornado risk stretches from southern Michigan to the Gulf Coast, including Indiana, where a few tornadoes are possible this afternoon and evening. Today is a critical day to stay weather aware. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings. We may be going live later today to cover this severe weather event, especially if tornado warnings begin to pop up. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you're alerted if we go live. Sunday, changing setup. Sunday brings a different type of threat. While our area of low pressure intensifies over the Great Lakes, the severe weather threat will be lower overall. Storms are not expected to be very tall or robust in the atmosphere, which will limit tornado potential. Still, there is a marginal risk for severe weather across the Ohio Valley and Northeast, where the main hazard will be strong, damaging winds, with perhaps a weak tornado or two. Another marginal risk sits along the Gulf Coast, where a 2% tornado risk has been highlighted by the SPC. Areas near Panama City and Mobile could see a couple of brief tornadoes, along with damaging winds. Timing the storms. Today, let's take a closer look at today's timeline across the mid-Mississippi Valley and Ohio Valley. 10 to 11 a.m. Thunderstorms rapidly develop from the Red River region of Texas or Oklahoma to St. Louis. These early storms will be scattered and capable of isolated wind and hail. Tornado risk remains low at this time. Around lunchtime into early afternoon, a squall line begins to take shape. While disorganized at first, this evolving line will intensify quickly and transition into a damaging wind event. I would not entirely rule out the chance for a brief, isolated tornado somewhere within this zone. However, at this stage, it does not appear likely that these early storms will produce a substantial tornado threat. The greater concern arises if additional storms are able to develop ahead of the main line of thunderstorms later today. While this is not guaranteed, this particular model run is suggesting the potential for a few prefrontal supercells to ignite between 1 to 3 p.m., possibly one in southwestern Arkansas, and perhaps another across portions of Illinois or Indiana. If this scenario unfolds, the threat for tornadoes, including the possibility of a strong one, would increase significantly. However, there is also the risk that the environment evolves into a chaotic setup where multiple supercells cluster together, interfering with each other's rotation. If that occurs, it becomes much more difficult for any one storm to produce a tornado. With all of that said, I do believe there is a legitimate tornado threat today, but it has the potential to be a classic boom or bust situation. Either we end up seeing numerous tornadoes or very few, possibly none at all. That's the reality of today's setup. By around 4 p.m., the main squall line will be pushing across Arkansas, producing widespread damaging winds, along with a few embedded tornadoes. Meanwhile, in southwestern Arkansas and northeastern Texas, those earlier prefrontal supercells will begin merging into the main line, which will gradually reduce their tornado potential. At the same time, storms will still be ongoing across southeastern Missouri and southern Illinois, many of which will continue to produce strong winds, along with a few tornadoes. By 5 to 6 p.m., it's also possible that a rogue supercell may develop ahead of the main line in southern Illinois, which could briefly intensify the tornado threat in that region. Evening and overnight threat between 6 to 9 p.m. The main line of storms will surge eastward through central and eastern Arkansas, producing destructive wind gusts of 60-75 milliliter. By 8-9 p.m., the overall severe weather threat will begin to slowly decrease, but a weaker line of storms will still move through Tennessee and Kentucky overnight. This line will continue into Sunday morning, tracking through the Ohio Valley, then into the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, maintaining a low-end but persistent severe weather threat. Gulf Coast threat, late tonight into Sunday. Across the lower Mississippi Valley and the southeast, a few isolated prefrontal storms may fire across central and northern Louisiana later this afternoon, around 4 p.m., bringing a threat of damaging winds and hail with an isolated tornado or two. By 7-8 p.m., storms will intensify into a broken line moving across Mississippi and central Louisiana with a continued damaging wind threat. A few QLCS tornadoes, brief tornadoes embedded within the line, will be possible through midnight. By Sunday morning, we'll be watching a low-end tornado threat along the Gulf Coast. Most of these will likely be offshore rotating storms producing waterspouts, but one or two could briefly move inland, posing a localized tornado risk near the coastline. Meanwhile, central and southern Florida will remain relatively quiet Sunday afternoon and evening, despite morning thunderstorms across the Panhandle. Northeast severe threat on Sunday in the northeast. There is no severe threat today, but tomorrow a line of storms will form across western New York. Ohio and parts of Pennsylvania, mainly producing damaging wind gusts during the afternoon and evening. By early evening, storms will push into central and eastern Pennsylvania, with 60-65 mph wind gusts capable of downing trees and power lines. The tornado risk here is very low, but not zero. By Monday morning, this cluster will reach southern and central New England, bringing a few isolated severe storms. A brief waterspout or funnel cloud can't be ruled out near the coast, but overall, the tornado risk is minimal. Strong winds and next storm system. Another noteworthy factor with this massive storm system is the powerful non-thunderstorm wind threat. Wind gusts of 40-60 mph are possible today and tomorrow across the Northeast, Ohio Valley, and Midwest. These strong gradient winds will continue Monday and Tuesday, as yet another intense low-pressure system moves across the northern plains and upper Midwest. Light snow may fall across North Dakota Monday night into Tuesday, but significant accumulation is not expected at this time. Wednesday through Friday look relatively quiet, but we are already watching the next major storm system, which could bring another round of severe weather to the central or southern plains by late next week. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's forecast. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss our live severe weather coverage later today. Also, don't forget to check out our 24/7 weather camera live stream featuring live sky cameras across today's severe weather risk zones. It's streaming now on the More Max Velocity channel, linked at the top of the description. Make sure to subscribe there as well. We've got a lot more coming your way. Thank you guys. See you next video.